All right, so far this week you've been working with passive verbs. The way that you form that in Latin, you'll remember, we're just reviewing real quick, the way that you form that in Latin is with you are. You do your regular third person singular verb and you add a you are to the end of it, and now you have a passive verb. So let's do portat. Or no, fährt. Puer fährt means the boy carries. Fährtur. How do we get from a Latin passive to an English passive? Remember, you think is ed. Is ed. So if this is carry, then this is carried, right? If fährt is carry, then fährtur is carried. Good. So that's the passive, but that now we're going to do today infinitives, passive infinitives. So let's just review regular old infinitives first. The infinitive, let's pick an easy one. We could do portare. 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 And how do you translate an infinitive? What's an infinitive in English? To carry, right? To carry. So this is to carry. The passive you're going to do sort of in the same way is ed. How would you do that? How would you do that in the infinitive though? To carry is to carried? No. To is to carry, to be carried. Yeah? To carry, and if you're going to do a passive, it's going to be to be carried. So when you see in English to be carried, that's when you need to know. That's when you know you need to translate with a passive infinitive. But right now we have an active infinitive. Portare is the form for an active infinitive verb. We need the form for passive infinitive. Very easy to form. Just get rid of that e and put an I. Portare. Yeah? Portare is to be carried. Alright, and when do we use infinitives? Probably the most common place where we see the infinitive being used is with the verb potest. Potest. Potest means, can or is able. And if you struggle with this construction at all, with potest in the infinitive, then I would advise you to translate potest as be able, because in English, when we say can, we don't use the infinitive. I can run. You didn't hear an infinitive there. What's the infinitive of run? The infinitive of run is to run. But if I say that same sentence differently, if I use the word able, I am able to run. Yeah? So in English, when you say can, you don't use the infinitive. But when you use able, you do use the infinitive. So using able in English will help you if you struggle with it, because it follows a little bit more closely to the Latin. So, potest. He is able. Let's just turn this into a sentence. Potest portari, or portari potest is a better word order. Portari potest. Potest, he is able. Portari, to be carried. Right? Puer portari potest. The boy is able to be carried. And what happens if I change this I to an E? Now it's an active infinitive. I'll give you 5 seconds to try and translate this. When I changed it by one letter, what does it now mean in English? It just meant the boy is able to be carried. What does it mean now? Puer portare potest. Yeah, you got it. Good job. The boy is able to carry. Yeah, so portare is ed. The same thing we've been doing the rest of this week. Is ed. Portare with an I. Portare. That's the passive form, so I need to think of is ed. To be carried. Okay? And if it's portare, it's just a regular active verb. The boy is able to carry. All right, let's do a couple more examples, and then I'll let you guys go ahead and do your worksheet. Let's see, what's a good one? Yeah, same as always. Pulsare. Puer amicum pulsat. Puer amicum pulsat. This is your regular third person present tense active verb. So this is the boy punches his friend in a amicable way. I'm sure they're not actually fighting. Let's change this to passive. How do you make a Latin verb passive? You just add an ur. You add an ur. But all of a sudden now this sentence doesn't make any sense. Puer amicum pulsator. Why is there a direct object here? There can't be a direct object when you have a passive verb, right? Because passive means it's happening to the subject, and the subject isn't acting on something else. That something else that he'd be acting on would be the direct object, but the subject isn't acting, so there is no direct object. So we got to get rid of amicum, and actually we want amicus to be the subject. Amicus pulsator. It used to be the boy is punching his friend, and how do you turn that passive? Is punched, right? Is ed, is punched. The friend is punched by the boy. The friend is punched by the boy. And you've already been working on this yesterday and the day before. A puero. A puero. So, puer amicum pulsat. That same thing. If we had a flashcard for that, just envision that flashcard. Envision that happening. Puer amicum pulsat. You could have the exact same card, and you could say this: amicus a puero pulsator. Right? Okay. So that's just review, and now we're going to do the new concept, which is the passive infinitive. All right. Let's just start with the regular active infinitive, puer, and we're going to do it with potest because you need to have a certain context in which you use the infinitive. Puer amicum pulsare potest. Puer amicum pulsare potest. The boy is able to punch his friend. The boy is able to punch his friend. And I want to take this sentence and turn it passive. So, all we got to do for the verb form is take that E and turn it into an I. Pulsari. Okay, I'm going to give you a chance to test yourself again. Pulsare is to punch. Pulsari is the passive. So what does pulsari just by itself mean? Remember, is ed. What is to punch, but is ed? You got it again! Great job! To be punched. Pulsari is to be punched. To punch, to be punched. All right, and who's getting punched in this sentence? The friend. So amicus is now the subject. Right? So something that we're learning right now is when you take a sentence and you turn that sentence passive, the direct object becomes the subject. Yeah? When you take a sentence and it's got an active verb and you want to change it so that it's passive, the direct object becomes the subject. So we'll just do it in English. The teacher throws the marker. Okay, we want to make that passive. Is ed, is thrown. All right. The teacher is thrown by, no. Oh, the marker is thrown by the teacher. See, you have to take the direct object and it becomes the sentence now, the subject now of your passive sentence. So that's why I took amicum. It's now the subject. Amicus, pulsari, but we're missing some stuff. We need potest. That's not going to change. Potest. So what do we have now? Amicus pulsari potest. Friend is able to be punched, and we can put this in our sentence as well. I mean, this makes sense by itself. Amicus pulsari potest. The friend is able to be punched, but we can put this in there too. He's going to be the agent, and that's exactly the same way that you've been doing it before. So this is the only thing that changes. This part doesn't change. A puero. Amicus a puero pulsari potest. Great. So go ahead and do your worksheet. It is going to be, I'm guessing, a lot harder than the worksheets from the previous 2 days. This is a difficult concept, and some of you will struggle through it, and that is totally okay, because you just need to see these things over and over. This isn't the first time that we've done this. This is the second time, if I'm not mistaken. This is the second time that we've seen this, and maybe you need to see it 5 times, 7 times, 10 times before you get it. And that's just the way that languages work. My daughter just said drooved. Droove? Yeah, we droove here. She said that today. And I'm sure I've corrected her about that, 4 or 5 times. And her past tense verbs, I'm constantly correcting her about those. And the fact that she gets it wrong, it's not a big deal. It's just the way that languages work. You need to see these things over and over and over again. So what I'm saying is, if you struggle through this, if you're struggling through the worksheet, don't worry about it. You just need to make sure that you look at it very carefully, you look at the answers very carefully, and that you understand it at least for today. And if you forget it tomorrow, that's fine, because Bryony probably forgot that I corrected her. It's not droove, it's drove. And she'll get it wrong again, but after I've corrected her 5 more times, she'll get it right. So same with you guys. Don't be discouraged if you're getting these things wrong. What's more important is that you're being exposed to it, and we'll be exposed to it more and more, over and over, and eventually you'll get it. Great. Work hard.